be. This is Ursula von der Leyen's party. They will still be the biggest political party, if that's any good news, although looks like they're going to have to work with a lot of sort of unlikely bedfellows. What do you think?
Well, I think these are European parliamentary elections, usually don't get a whole lot of attention, but they certainly did this time, particularly in France. I think that's the big story. Emmanuel Macron's party only got about 15% of the vote, and the far right, Marine Le Pen, who's been his nemesis, she got about 35% of the vote. That's a big shift. Also in Germany, the far right Alternative for Germany party polled better than each of Olaf Scholz's coalition partners in the government, the Greens, the Liberals, and his own Social Democrats. And his Social Democrats did, I think, the worst since World War II in any election. So it's bad. And Macron's gamble now is to call snap elections. And if you recall, the British were having their own snap elections. So, June 30th, you have the first round of French elections, July 4th, the British election, and then July 7th, the second round of the French elections, all of this unanticipated just some weeks ago. And it could lead to a far-right government in France. Macron's not up for re-election, he's the president, but this would be a parliamentary election. So he would have to govern with his nemesis, basically. His gamble is to use 3 years before the final presidential elections to show that they did a really bad job and that somehow the voters would reward him. So it's a huge political gamble, and it's going to create a lot of uncertainty in France. The other story, though, is in Italy. The hard right of Prime Minister Meloni, the sitting government, did quite well. They also got 30%, up from 6% in the last elections. And that's going to make her the king or queen maker, probably. For all the talk of France, I think Italy will actually be very decisive in who gets the next big jobs in the European Commission and the European Council. She could choose to align with the conservative mainstream parties, as you indicated. They actually were the winners today. And if she does that, then she could probably have a big say in who becomes the next Commission president, maybe the president of the European Council, where all the European, parliamentary prime ministers meet. So that's, I think, what we look forward to seeing how that'll play out. The losers today were the Greens and the Liberals. Macron sort of allied with the Liberals. They all lost seats, which means some of the issues that they had been pushing are going to be tougher. The green transition, the Green Deal issues, I think, are going to be looked at, with a very hard edge. Migration issues have been driving some of the discontent. The economy worries about European competitiveness. And if you have some of these far-right parties, they've been playing sort of hard, fast and loose with Russia and with NATO. Marine Le Pen, says, we're not particularly interested in NATO, but we won't withdraw as long as Ukraine's at war. But if she's in the government, she might have a different view. And on Russia, some of these parties have been, critical of Ukraine and cozy up to Russia. So more divisions to come, I think. The last thing I think that just to keep in mind is that the European Commission, has been investigating Chinese electric vehicles, and they held their decision until after the election. But I think you'll see this week that the Commission will announce tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles coming to Europe.